Greetings, my name is Prabha, and in this video I'd like to give an overview of a hobby project of mine. It's a player assistant app for the board game Red Dust Rebellion from GMT Games. The app is called Skycrane. You may be familiar with apps that I built for two other games in the Coin series, Fire in the Lake and Gandhi. If you are, you will find Skycrane to have a very similar look and feel. Skycrane is not a digital version of the game. There is no map. It's intended purely as a supplement to the physical board game. Skycrane will use the game's Curiosity non-player system to puppet those factions not being run by players. It will speed up player turns by only showing them valid options, and it can assemble a card deck or let you enter your own cards as you go. The goal was for the interface to fit on a phone or tablet of at least 5.4 inches. I haven't tested this on anything smaller. Okay, time for a demo. The first screen that we see in opening up the app is this one. Up the top you can see 3 tabs. Display tab is where we drive from. The second tab shows the state of the board, and the third archives past turns. We'll look at each of them shortly. The setup action on the play tab at the bottom takes us to this screen, where we toggle the faction that we're running and how the card deck will be built. Skycrane supports anywhere between 0 and 4 human players, and will run the remainder using Curiosity. So whether you want to play solo running just one faction, or play 4-handed solo, or you just need a non-player to round out your gaming group of 3, Skycrane can be of use. Let's choose to play the Marsgov faction and build our own card deck, entering the first 3 cards here. When we submit and accept our settings, the button now says Begin. We then see the initial storm placement screen. At this point, let's switch to the board tab. What you see here is simply a listing of map spaces from the board and the contents and status of each. You'll see the control and support status, whether there are damage, population or storm markers, and the forces present. Along the top are the values of the victory markers, resource markers, and EarthGov confidence and flashpoint. Since the RD faction is a non-player in this session, their resource marker is not shown. Along the bottom are the eligibilities of each side, and any capabilities and campaigns in effect. At this point, the board tab is showing the starting setup for the sorting scenario, just like the setup details in the rulebook. This can be used to set up the board, and personally, I find it easier to use than the rulebook. Let's go back to the play tab and hit next turn. Now the game has commenced. At the top you'll see both the current card and the next one to come. Since I set the first card as card number 1, and that has the Marsgov as first eligible, it's my turn first up. If I tap at the top right, I can view the events for the current and next cards. If I double tap, I can see persistent card effects. I enter my move by choosing options from a series of drop-downs. I'm going to play an operation plus special activity. In this case, train plus entrench. The app will only show you valid options, so that should streamline the process of assembling your course of action. As I pick my actions, they go into a queue. I can undo any of this, or even go back and pick a different set of actions. When I'm ready, I'll submit the queue. The next screen shows my moves in a scrollable list with operations and special activities color-coded. Each of those in turn is laid out as a sequence of single steps. At the end, any victory markers that change during the turn are listed. I can work through this list and update the board. When my turn is over, I press next turn, and the next faction has its go. Here it's run an event. All factions can run both types of card events, in most cases. You'll see the event title at the top as a newspaper headline. Now it's time to enter the next card in my hand-built card deck. So we need to regularly update the game board with each turn. We have a couple of options. We can move down the list in the Play tab and replicate each action on the board. An alternative approach is to move over to the Board tab. The map spaces involved in the turn just completed are up the top and in a lighter color. In addition, the top row of the Board tab will have the latest changes to its numbers highlighted in white. I use a combination of the tabs, stepping through the individual actions listed on the Play tab on the board, and then using the Board tab as a quick check. If you prefer, you can double tap on the board screen to sort the map spaces in a predictable sequence, organized by sector. When we get to a flashpoint or dust storm, the flow is a little different. The app steps through the phases of the process autonomously, stopping to get manual input from your faction at the right point. Then the full playthrough is laid out for you. Having run a few turns, let's have a look at the Past tab. This stores the screen displays from past turns. It opens in the most recent turn, and we can swipe through to earlier turns. If you want to report an issue, move to the screen where it occurs and press Report Bug. This will open up your email program with a game snapshot and no personal information. Then just send the email to me. There is a Slideout menu accessed from the icon at the top left. It contains notes, a link to this video, and options to restart or restore from a previous turn. The app autosaves after the first faction plays each new card. So if you want to take a break, that would be the point to do it. The Reformer faction has a couple of unique options. When they are potentially able to override the card eligibility, one or two extra buttons appear at the bottom, showing the cost in cards to take this option. The app does not track the hidden card hands of the Reformer and Red Dust players, so it's up to you to only take the option if you can afford it. When the Reformer player has a shot at overriding the card event, an extra option appears. Again, because the app doesn't know your card hand, all unplayed asset event cards appear as choices. One more thing to point out is the way you redeploy forces from the map. It's a little subtle. Let's say I'm Marsgov and I want to train forces in the labyrinth, but I don't have enough available. I switch to the board screen and scroll across the map spaces. I long press those troops that I want to tag for redeployment. They will appear both in the Marsgov available space and in the tag space at the bottom. Physically, they are still in the original map spaces. I then switch back to the play screen and continue my train. The tagged forces will show up in the drop-down, but only if I use them will they be moved from their current spaces to the train destination. If I don't use them, they stay put. The tags are cleared at the end of the turn. In conclusion, I hope this has been a useful overview of why Skycrane is worth checking out. Thanks for watching.